Okay, so I saw this tweet recently about Olivia Rodrigo, and it got me to thinking. It says, it's actually insane how despite her debuting in the streaming era, she's a huge force with pure sales. And I saw this other one that was interesting too. It says, all these artists having a big hit yet can't get their album to number one prove that Olivia Rodrigo's entry to the music scene is a once-in-a-lifetime event. So all of this really led me to think, what makes Olivia Rodrigo so successful in the first place? And I feel like this is something I want to talk about before, but these tweets kind of navigated me back to this conversation. So I think there's multiple things that tie into it. Number one, I think that she just makes great music. I think she makes really catchy music that a lot of people my age bracket, I'm 23 for reference, and younger, like my sister loves Olivia Rodrigo, and my sister literally put me on to her music. And, Deja Vu was a song where I was like, okay, like she's really cooking something, and now I'll defend this woman tooth and nail. Besides the live vocals, I can't help you there. But, from a music standpoint, I think she just writes a lot of great stuff that is just super catchy, super memorable. So I think that helps. Another thing is because of her demographic that helps her, because it's like a lot of her songs trended on TikTok, especially from the Sour album. Driver's License was a huge trend. That song was number one for 8 weeks, I believe. Good For You was very popular. Deja Vu, I believe it peaked at number 3. Somebody told me on the chart, so that was successful. Trader was a moment. Like literally every song on the album, to my understanding, had a TikTok trend. And I think TikTok, it's changed because, the regulations now, but, back then used to definitely help a lot more with like your songs and stuff like that. But I mean, even without TikTok, I mean, still on Twitter, just in the world at large, the impact is definitely felt so far with her music and, with Driver's License. I just think that it's a really interesting song. And I think that it was something that was just different enough to make everyone stop and pay attention and be like, who is this girl? And, familiar enough with, other, great debut singles or just hit songs we love in general about heartbreak that a lot of people were like, I love this song, And another thing is going back to the demographic is a lot of her demographic is Taylor Swift fans. And one thing about Taylor Swift fans, they're going to buy an album. That's why Taylor Swift pure sales do so well. And it's interesting with Taylor Swift about the fact that she debuted in 2006. And that was right in the middle of the digital era and whenever people were still going out to buy things, the physical era. And then it took time, but she transitioned really well into the streaming era and she sells the pure sales. So, I think you have that. That also ties in as well. I think, like I said, a lot of her fan base is younger, but not all. But I think they're very passionate about what she does. And for myself, if I'm really passionate about pretty much anything, I'm going to buy it immediately. I'm going to buy the album. I'm going to stream it. I'm going to promote it. I'm going to talk about it and try to get other people to listen to it. I'll see you on tour. So I think for a lot of these, kids growing up, Olivia Rodrigo to them is what Taylor Swift was to, people my age as well. Another thing with Olivia Rodrigo is I think that she just has that star power to her. And I think to be as famous as she is, you have to have that. There's a lot of musicians out there and it's like they might have a hit song or two. They might have some fame. But I think to get to her point, you have to have that. And that's definitely something that people are looking for. People are looking for something to kind of grab onto, something to be interesting, something to pull their attention. And I think she does that, whether it's her music, whether it's her interviews and the way that she's engaged with that, her on social media. I think that she is interesting. I think she has a personality to her. She's not some robot. And a lot of people are looking for that. They're looking for you to be personal, for you to just have some kind of humanity to you. And I think that that really helps her and that definitely ties in. And I think that her team has done a great job in terms of marketing her. Like I've stated somewhere in this video, especially with all the vinyl variants that she's doing, the CDs that she's selling, they found a way to push into that. And I think that it's really admirable because I feel like it's really hard to get people to buy physical media these days. But with some of her fan base being Swifties, I think that helps. With her imaging, I think that helps. And people just kind of want to buy into that and they want to feel a part of the club. And it's nice to have physical media. That also definitely helps as well because there's definitely been a resurgence of vinyl, just having collections and stuff like that. So her team was smart to play into that as well. And they've done a great job with marketing that and just her across the board. I also think that, kind of tying back in, a lot of people find her relatable and some people are seeing her as a role model. I believe she's like Filipino or something like that. So a lot of girls are kind of embracing her just in terms of that standpoint, and just in general finding her relatable. I think that she's super smart. You can tell that she's well read. She seems like a really grounded person, so that definitely helps her as well. Another thing that I think really helps her is the fact that she seems to be very mature for her age. Like, she seems to have really good media training, and she carries herself well, and I think that's really important in this media age where a lot of people just can't find a way to stay off Twitter and social media. It's like she's using social media, she's using TikTok, and she's having those moments. She's using Twitter, having little memes and stuff like that. And so it's a way to connect with the fans, right? But it's like she does it in a smart way. If she's not overdoing it, she's not on there all the time. There's a good balance there so the fans feel connection in terms of that. And I think that that's also important as well. And I just think that she cares about what she does. Obviously, she cares about writing great songs. She's trying to do something different with the performances. And I just feel like Olivia Rodrigo kind of gave us what we needed, everything right now. We have Billie Eilish. I love Billie Eilish. She's made a lot of great songs and everything. I think that her and Olivia Rodrigo, like the market that they have, I think that there is, some overlap there. I'm sure that there's different audience in certain aspects and everything like that. But they're the only ones really in their age bracket who are doing what they're doing. And so, to have the success so far with having songs with billions of streams on Sour and, all the records that album broke, this album did well for itself. I'm pretty sure it outsold Sour first week. And everything else that I mentioned, I think that helps. I also think that she has great marketing. She has a great team behind her. I definitely have to mention that in terms of how they promoted the Sour album. I thought that was pretty much perfect promotion for a debuted era. And I think that it's so important. Even going back to the way that they released the singles. The order is so important. Driver's License was a great ballad. And then, okay, let me show you guys that I'm not just all ballads. I can do something a little bit different. I'll give you Uptempo, Deja Vu. And then following that up with Good For You and the smash hit that was, and just the sequencing of the singles, I think was very pleasing. And so I think that she's shown a lot. She's shown a lot. Like I said, the live performance has to improve. It has to improve. But for the most part, I don't have a whole lot of notes on what else she can improve. I also appreciate her being, active in terms of politics and speaking out on that, speaking out on being, for abortion and birth control and all of those things. Like, young people like myself, I really care about that stuff. I'm going to speak out about my stuff. And she knows that her platform is power. So not being afraid to speak out on that and knowing the platform that she has, I think a lot of people really do respect that as well. And I genuinely think that there's a lot to like about her. For the most part, there was also the whole driver's license controversy and everything with Sabrina. She probably could have handled that a little bit better. But also, that's not entirely her fault. There's definitely some people that are feeding into that as well in that entire narrative. And, that's mainly settled now. And I wonder what you guys think about that, because some people think had all that drama not been happening, she wouldn't be as popular as she is. That definitely puts her song to a certain extent. I disagree with that. I think it was just a great song. And even if it wasn't with that specific song, I think that she was going to break through anyways. So I think that that's kind of stupid, and that takes away from her success to a certain standpoint. And so I think sometimes people just say anything. So I wanted to have that there. And yeah, I'm just kind of admiring how I'm seeing her punch out the career so far. Her shows are selling pretty well. I think it was smart for her debut era, how she wasn't going to do a bunch of arenas and stuff like that. She did smaller shows because she was like, I'm not ready for that, and just being realistic with yourself there, giving yourself time to kind of learn. And then now with this tour, now she's doing arenas and stuff like that, and she's selling well. And I think when you make a good product, I think when you're smart about how you get people to buy into that product and how you promote yourself and your team and your social media and all those things tied together, I think that's why Olivia Rodrigo is just so popular right now. I think there's a lot of people who have tried to do similar things to her, but it's just like sometimes it doesn't work. I think a lot of careers like hers, it's lightning in a bottle. And we have to remember that she's only been out, for a few years. So let's see where she's at 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and see the longevity kick in and all the different factors that play into her career, her label situation. But, we have to tie that in as well. Also, Olivia Rodrigo owns her masters. And because she's a Taylor Swift fan, that's why. Because, she's adamant about getting that. So I think she steps ahead in terms of that as well. But yeah, Olivia Rodrigo, I think that she's just one of the best pop girls out right now. I think she had hit after hit after hit. And with this new album, she proved that Sour wasn't going to be, the end for her. She was still going to have great songs. I wish with this era, the label would have pushed it more. I don't know why you guys didn't go harder in terms of pushing it with Bad Idea Right as a single, with Getting Back as a single. You could have released a few more singles for the album, and they will. We do have the deluxe, and you guys just saw what that sold. So, that's no small feat as well. But I think the label kind of dropped stop the promotion this era. And I think that's just because, oh, she's got so popular already, the records are going to sell themselves. While that's true to a certain degree, you want to extend her fan base. She has people that are already going to love her, but with every era, that's an opportunity to extend into new people who haven't heard you before, and you have to push that. So I think that was on them, and I think the promotion from her part has been pretty good. Olivia has a lot working in her favor. I think she's a great songwriter, owning the masters that I already mentioned. And Taylor Swift co-sign early certainly didn't hurt her, and I think she's got some co-signs of some icons who have came before her. But I think that the future is bright for Olivia Rodrigo. I think that she's doing a lot right, and I hope that she keeps it up and just keeps making good music and just plays smart, because there's just so much more in store for her, and I'm definitely going to be tuning in and everything. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments on this. Why do you think that Olivia Rodrigo is successful? Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you disagree with me. Let me know if there's some reasons on here that I didn't mention that you think also attribute to her success as well. I'd love to know what you guys think.